U.S. housing market and rates. If we haven't met before, my name is Chelsea Winstead. I am a home financing strategist and a mortgage broker. As we start closing out the end of the year, I want to just talk through some specific data points and what this means if you are a home buyer and or if you are looking to purchase a home in the next 3 to 6 months. So traditionally, we do see a slowdown in just the home buying market behavior around this time of the year because everybody's getting snuggly. It's the holiday season. It's cold in a lot of places and a lot of people just can't really be bothered to go through the home buying process. But what I want to touch on is the power that you can actually have as a home buyer if you decide to potentially make moves during this kind of off season. Now, I think, and I say, I'm going to talk a little bit about this. I think that interest rates take a huge hit, and they are really a lot of blame is placed on interest rate for why it's super unaffordable for some people to purchase a home. The reality is that that's not true. Interest rates are actually at average or below average, over the history of mortgages. But what's not on average, it's the home prices. So home prices have pretty exponentially increased over the past 6-7 years. And that is actually a huge indicator as to why things are really hard to afford. On top of that, a lot of people don't realize this, but your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance, those annual premiums are part of your monthly mortgage payment. So if you live in a place for example, Texas, very well known as a place that has pretty high property taxes. I have a client right now that's looking to buy in Jersey. Property taxes are really high. So depending on where you live, your actual total monthly payment, it's not just going to the principal and interest on your loan, which that is what the mortgage rate impacts, but it's also these other elements of your home insurance, property taxes, and or your HOA payment if you have one. So keep that in mind because I think sometimes, the interest rate is very demonized and it's really put a lot of highlight on it. But the bigger difference for a lot of you is the purchase price that you are looking at. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is how much power you have when you are a home buyer when the market is slow. So I kind of pulled a couple numbers I wanted to talk through. So first of all, nationwide, the median time on market for homes was 63 days in October. So this is actually up from earlier in the year. So in June, the average time on market was about 53 days. So what that means is homes are sitting on the market for longer, which overall means that there's more opportunity. And the key thing here is that there's less urgency from a lot of buyers. That then, if you are a buyer, gives you a better chance of getting a really strong price and or having really strong negotiations because of this. Now, I always say this, and part of my process when you work with me, we actually do a call and we run through what's going on in your local market just to get a realistic sense of what's going on. I do still help people that live in sellers markets, that is a thing. Also, sometimes within states, a lot of metros, sometimes cities, they are still primarily sellers markets, not buyers market. Okay, another big thing to pay attention to is that inventory right now is actually up nationally. So the active listings count in the US is up about 1.1 million homes as of September of 2025. So year over year, the amount of active listings has grown by 17% just in September 2025 alone. What is happening here is that increase in inventory means that you as the buyer have more choice, right? You have the ability to choose. I mean, literally not that long ago, and many of you probably lived through this or maybe even tried to buy, there were times where homes literally were hitting the market and before they were even posted for an hour, they were under contract. And so, that really led to just kind of a frenzy. But today, because we have so many listings now, even in comparison to where we were a year ago, it gives you more choice as a home buyer. So again, more choice equals more negotiation power, which means often that you can get either a price improvement on the actual list price, you can get seller credit to help offset your closing cost. You just have more wiggle room, whereas literally not that long ago, that just wasn't a thing. Another thing I should mention is that, rates are still they're not record low. Obviously, we don't really want things to go to a record low, to be honest, because it means something really tragic is happening. But, current fixed mortgage rates are a full 0.5% lower than where they were a year ago. And, the market outlook from JP Morgan this is interesting, actually. They have projected that the housing market growth in 2025 is going to be 3% or less. So we are not in a time of frenzy buying and like things being scooped up immediately. The market has pretty significantly slowed down, and in some areas you're actually seeing homes prices not bottom out, but definitely drop, aka it's called cooling, like the price is cool. That is where you see markets try to correct themselves when, let's say, if you ever just like pause, during auctions, you like watch the movies and they're like, anybody take it for 10, anybody take it for 12, 13, 14. And like all of a sudden it's like a frenzy and people feed off of each other. And then all of a sudden something that basically was not even going to go for $9,000, not whatever, $9,000 ends up going for like $40,000. You're like, what the hell? It's kind of the same concept of what was going on in the world of housing. So what was happening is so many people wanted to purchase because suddenly now there was a new window of opportunity to buy that people just started scooping it up. And so the threshold of which people were willing to purchase kept going up and up and up and up and up. And that's just not something that, we're literally paying for it today. To be totally honest with you, I run numbers all the time for people. I will say, like, I was very lucky to have bought my first property, when I was in my early 20s, and I bought it for under $200,000. That same piece of property now is almost $400,000. And I know for a fact that if that property would have costed then what it costs now, I would not have been able to purchase that then. I recognize that we are in a totally different place when it comes to home purchasing than we were 10 years ago. And I think anyone who doesn't address that is just a little bit tone deaf. But the truth is that this is where we are today. And a lot of people, I talk to people, and even in my comments, people say like, oh, so-and-so, these homes aren't worth this. And here's the hard kind of reality you have to face is that the market determines what something is worth. So if you live in a place where homes are constantly listed for that price and they go and they sell, they are worth that because your market has determined that it is worth that. And unfortunately, some of this movement has kind of swept a lot of people away from being able to purchase. But the reality is that it still is possible to make a purchase, but now it is a different, quite frankly, demographic. It is a different group of people from an earning perspective. It is a different group of people from a savings perspective. And so, all we can do is make plans based on what we are looking at today. There is no significant data that would show that we're going to have rates bottoming out. There's no significant data that shows that we're going to have home prices crash. So the truth of the matter is that if you would like to buy a home, we just have to accept that we are in a different reality today than we were a decade ago. Now, what I will say about this is, number one, rates have consistently been going down over the past few months. They're projected to continue to soften over the next 6 months. When I say soften, this isn't going to be like hundreds and hundreds of dollars of savings. Maybe depending on your purchase price, maybe between today and 6 months from now, you may save $120. But I guess the question is, you can never bet. Like, I'm just not a gambling person. I think that everything is so chaotic that right now I'm actually in the purchase of potentially buying a home. And same thing for us. It's like, man, should we wait till January? Should we wait till February? But I don't know if what we want is going to be available then. So really all we can do is look at the numbers today, look at the information that we have today, make a decision on that, and make a decision that we feel comfortable on from a monthly payment perspective, and move forward from there. My only two major words of wisdom before I sign off tonight. Number one, who you work with on your numbers can literally make or break your entire scenario. I think that the number side is literally the most critical. Why you would go and meet with a real estate agent and start looking at homes that you have no idea what they would cost, that is beyond me. You and me we are just cut from a different cloth if you are down for that level of risk and getting your feelings hurt. I personally always recommend running your numbers and knowing exactly what your monthly payment is going to be well before you ever step into a home and basically set yourself up for failure. So that's number one, picking somebody who will give you that information and help guide you and educate you. Number two, big thing is that you need an agent in your area that has proven to be successful. And I'm going to just say this real candidly. I don't care who your mom, your sister, your brother, your friends have recommended or you, unless you can actually pull up their data and see what their production is, which I do this for my clients. You really want to make sure that you are working with somebody who is an expert and who has the ability to negotiate strongly on your behalf. And in my honest opinion, the best way to look at stats stats and to know that with confidence is to look at their numbers and look at their production. You add those two people together and you basically have a bomb ass team that is going to help you make a decision that truly feels right for you and that feels good and exciting, not scary. If you would like me to be that number one person, I would love to support you. Link in my profile. First option is the best way to get a hold of me. I will text you direct and we will kick off from there. Until tomorrow.